What up, guys? You know how much I love the news, right? And today we got hit with a ton of news on two big fights that are going to be happening very soon. Here's one thing. One of the fights we expected to be pretty much a done deal. Both fighters still want to fight, but that fight's not seeming to be coming together as easily as we anticipated. And the other fight was a bit of a pipe dream, but now this one's official. So, as the world of mixed martial arts and boxing turns, the news cycle also turns. We've been so big on UFC 287 that it's kind of dominated the news for the last few days. But the moment you start to get comfortable in something else happens. When Jon Jones returned, it was an afterthought that the next fight would be Stipe Miocic, and it seemed to be happening at International Fight Week. I guess it's not happening. And being in Miami last week, just talking to people, you could feel that something was up with the fight. You didn't know exactly what it was because everybody's pretty tight-lipped, especially with all of us having YouTube channels down. You can't just be recklessly throwing out news because it might end up on the internet. But everybody was a bit tight-lipped about the fight, and it doesn't seem to be coming together the right way. So Mark Raimondi reported today that Jon Jones and Stipe Miocic are not fighting International Fight Week. It's still the fight that both want. It's still the fight that is allegedly going to happen. We just now don't know a date as to which that fight is going to take place. So last year, Stipe and Jon were supposed to fight. That was originally the first guy. And I heard just through the rumor mill, and you could take it as such, just a rumor, I don't know, was that Stipe was pricing himself out of the fight. Someone told me that for as long as we have been hearing Jones rumors, Jones has always been willing to sign those bout agreements. So when they said it was going to be September, they said Jones is ready. They said when it was going to be October, they said Jones is ready. December, Jones is ready. I heard that it's always been an issue on the Miocic side in terms of the financial side of the equation in order what he's going to get paid to go into the fight with Jones. Stipe is about to be 41 years old. So this may be, if he can't get the job done, his final payday of that sort. And I can see why he's trying to ensure that he is getting what he feels is his fair value, especially going into a very difficult fight for him. But this one felt like it was done. We all left Vegas after the Ciryl Gane fight thinking, man, we're going to get the greatest heavyweight of all time versus the greatest light heavyweight of all time fighting for the heavyweight championship of the world. It was awesome. It was an awesome thought, and it was fun to think that something was going to come together very clean. But that's obviously not happening. I will go to Kansas City, and I will dig a little bit, guys. I will dig for you to try to figure out what's going on with this fight because we all want to see it. We all want to see those guys come together. Look, it's very telling when a big fighter comes on and fights in the UFC because you see people on First Take. You saw my boy John Anik on First Take Monday after Jones fought. I was on First Take that weekend. When the big name guys come, you get the big opportunities to be on television. That's exactly what you saw with Izzy. That's exactly what you're going to see again when Jon Jones fights Stipe Miocic, a fight that isn't on the books yet. And it's going to be pushed back. I hope, though, that this isn't a fight that gets pushed all the way into December or Madison Square Garden. You guys know they have these flagship events in the UFC. You have MSG. You have big International Fight Week in Vegas. You have the Super Bowl weekend card. You have Miami now, which has become an absolute player down in South Beach to host big UFC events. So generally, these guys want to be on these cards, so you hope that the Miocic-Jones fight doesn't get pushed all the way to the winter time, even though it would. Could you imagine that fight in Madison Square? It would be absolutely crazy. Speaking of Madison Square, I got to pay some bills, guys. Today's video is brought to you by the Game Time app. Game Time is the best and biggest last-minute ticket place to shop. It is amazing, dude. The app is crazy. So for all your last-minute needs, all you got to do is download the Game Time app. Concerts, comedy shows, UFC, boxing, basketball, Playoffs are starting in basketball, so it's good to get those last-minute tickets. You go to the Game Time app. Download it in the App Store. Use the promo code DCTV. We'll give you $20 off of your first purchase. So no matter where you stay, get out. Do something fun. Download the Game Time app and save money. You could have fun, but you could also have fun doing things smart. Smart to use the Game Time app because then you save money and tickets. Those prices just plummet. And at Game Time, they're there to sell you all of those last-minute tickets. So once again, download the Game Time app. Use the promo code DCTV for $20 off of your first purchase. That wasn't the only news we got today. Jake Paul and Nate Diaz is official. It was a bit of a pipe dream. And as of last week, I started to hear people saying it would be beneficial to Nate to just go back to the UFC. He knows it. He's a star already. He can make good money. He can go and fight guys in a style that's very conducive to him being successful. And then today, we hear that him and Jake Paul is signed, sealed, delivered. Jake Paul fought Tommy Fury, and it wasn't that close. I remember watching that fight, and I watched it because, as I've said time and time again, I do appreciate how Paul has attacked this thing. But him and Tommy Fury's fight was not that close. And when I was listening to the commentators, they were saying things like maybe it's a draw. I didn't see the fight that much. I didn't see it like that. What I saw was a guy in Tommy Fury who, while he may not be that great, he's a guy that has spent his entire life boxing. I saw Jake Paul, a guy who's learning to box, kind of spamming overhand rights and telegraphing them. It's not going to work against a guy that spent his entire life boxing. It just doesn't work. And that's why Tommy Fury was able to beat him in the way that he was able to beat him. Jake had a rematch clause, but instead of using the rematch clause, the rematch, he goes and he fights Nate Diaz. Now, I believe this will be the biggest payday of Nate Diaz's career. And I know Nate has made a lot of money in the UFC. With that being said, though, I don't know how much I like it. I don't know how much I like the fight based on two things. Jake's big for him. Jake's going to be big for Diaz. And Jake also is improving as a boxer, but Jake can also hit Nate. And that's the worry. Nate is the guy that does get hit because Nate's tough. Nate got hit by Masvidal. Nate got hit by Tony Ferguson. And we know who Tony Ferguson is today opposed to who Tony Ferguson was before. Nate can be hit. And this guy's going to be bigger than Nate. This guy's going to be fighting in a rule set that benefits him. This guy is going to be difficult. It's going to be a very tough fight for Diaz just because he has to be so aware. Now, can Diaz outbox him? Yeah. If he can outwork him. I think Diaz's ability to outwork people is what's going to be his biggest advantage in this fight, because the one thing we have seen in Paul, we saw it against Tyron the first time. We saw it against Tommy Fury last time. We have seen it on numerous occasions that he can get tired. He can fatigue because all this stuff is new to him. Nate doesn't get tired. So if Nate's going to have an opportunity to win this fight, Nate has got to set a high pace early, and he's got to keep that pace going the entirety of the fight, and he has got to stay away from the right hand. Am I comfortable making a prediction on this fight? I don't know. But if I'm having to guess, seeing them both recently, I feel like the bigger, younger guy is generally who you would go with. And the bigger, younger, fresher guy is Paul. Paul isn't or has not been through the wars with Conor McGregor. Paul has not been through the wars of being in UFC championship fights with the best fighters in the world. He's fresh. His toughest fight was against Tommy Fury. And he's bigger. That is what I think may ultimately be one of the biggest issues that my boy Nate has to deal with when it comes to that fight. But if anyone can upset the apple cart, it's Nate Diaz. I'm happy Nate gets the opportunity to fight, make a boatload of money, and fight against a guy that many don't consider a real fighter. I do. I think Paul at this point has proven he's a fighter. Let's see what happens between him and Nate Diaz. But if I would be lying to you if I didn't say it makes me a tad bit nervous because I worry if this dude hits Nate, maybe he's able to put him down. Boxing is so much different than everything we've ever done. You know, I know Andre Ward. Maybe I'll shoot Ward a text. I'll call him and see what he feels Diaz thinks or brings to the fight against Jake Paul. Big news day today. Always exciting. Get the Jones-Miocic fight done. Let's get it done, boys. We need to see y'all fight. Jake Paul, Nate Diaz is also going to be fun. So, big news day. Guys, again, like, subscribe, tell your friend to tell a friend that DC has a YouTube channel. And it's good. Till next time, guys. Peace.